All right, peace, beloved, peace, beloved, peace, beloved. It's time for another great episode of Get On Code, the Fly Guy Show. And the code is empowerment, not necessarily Neely Fuller's compensatory code. This code is simply empowerment. The code is empowerment. And today we're talking with A. Donahue Baker, this brother right here, this Phi Beta Sigma brother right there. That's why I'm repping my frat tonight, because I couldn't let a Sigma come up here and outshine me. But the truth is, I'm learning from both of these great leaders that we have on the show today. So I'm learning a lot from A. Don Baker, and I'm also learning a lot from the Queen Taniki Riddick. How you doing, Queen?
Hello, how you doing? Thank you for having me.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's always good having you on. So, Don, I don't want to take up too much time with my shenanigans. I can talk. I want to learn from you again. You've been teaching me a lot. So let's start with who you are, Professor A. Donahue Baker. Tell me a little bit about Professor A. Donahue Baker, and then we're going to move into how do you go from a thousandaire to a millionaire?
Okay.
And then you're opening a bank, moneyav.com. Yes. So, I just can't wait. Moneyav.com. I can't wait to learn more about that. So let's start with who and what you are, Professor A. Donahue Baker.
Thank you so much. Yes, the professor it's a new experience for me. So I basically started teaching this semester at Morehouse. I teach entrepreneurship, a class on entrepreneurship and Black wealth. And it came about, I guess, through a number of years as being an entrepreneur. And it's something I do. So I started as a CPA. I'm still a CPA, actually. And I transferred that to creating a whole system a system that worked for me, which is the skyscraper to generational wealth. Real estate has been the key to basically allow me to retire from corporate America. And I embody a lot of the things I've learned along the way into a system. And I try to get out and teach people how to create generational wealth. That's really been my thing. That's what I've been promoted. And the next step, the next phase in that part is launching the bank, which is, I'm excited to do that. And we'll take a deeper dive into it. But that's really, how the whole professorship came about.
All right, well, tell me more about A. Donahue Baker pre-professor then.
Yeah, all right. So
I know you're a CPA.
Yeah, so going back, I started in high school, actually. I started as a music producer. So I'm actually a Grammy-nominated music producer. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah. But that's something that I had in my past. And then from there, the first check that I got was a really big 6-figure check from the music industry. And my peers at the time, they took their money and they would invest it in cars. They would invest it in clothes, in jewelry, right? Big jewelry and stuff like that. So I said I did not want to end up like that. So that very first check that I got, I actually bought real estate. And that real estate, through the ups and the downs, allowed me to kind of get an income every single month. And I began to scale that operation. I basically started with the duplex. Then I bought a 4-plex. Then I bought a 6-plex after that. And I set a goal to double the number of units every single year. To today, I own over 500 units of real estate. And it's made me a multi-millionaire and really gave me the opportunity to invest in things that I love to do, such as the bank.
Wow. Taniki, what are you thinking? Taniki?
That's phenomenal. Salute to you, King. I am excited. I'm excited, Seko, to have you here on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to be here. So a little bit about me, and one thing that I'm really and superly passionate about is creating generational wealth. So I hope that we get a chance to talk about that on a deeper level as well.
Well, maybe we should start with that. You help turn thousandaires into millionaires, and people can go to adonahuebaker.com, adonahuebaker.com, and they can, learn more about you there. I want to post that on the screen, as a matter of fact. And So how
as
do
well
you,
as well as the website, but also on all social media platforms, it's A Donahue Baker. So I'm on IG or YouTube. That, you know, all of the social media channels, A Donahue Baker. You can find great information there, lots of value. But yes, the website is adonahuebaker.com.
beautiful. You mentioned, well, actually, when you go onto your website, an ebook pop up and it says 99 ways to build generational wealth.
Yes.
Can you go into maybe 5 ways? I don't want, I want everyone to buy the book.
Right.
But,
yeah, absolutely. So I'll tell you, it's so important to make the decision to create generational wealth. When you think about the great families such as the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, the Vanderbilts, it was one matriarch. And in some families, it was a patriarch that made the decision, made a conscious effort to make a sacrifice for the current life that they're living, to sacrifice for the next generation. And all of us are capable of doing such a great deed. It's just saying, I want to be that person in my family that wants to create generational wealth. And I'll tell you how I did it for my family. I have a 3-year-old son. His name is Legacy, right? Legacy owns a 6-unit apartment building in Newark, New Jersey. That's my gift to Legacy, right? So I set that up. Legacy owns that 6-unit apartment building, but it does 2 really, really important things. The very first thing that it does is Legacy's college education will be paid from that apartment building, because as tenants pay down the mortgage, by the time Legacy is able to go to college, he'll be able to pull out enough equity where he can pay for his college education if he chooses to go to college. The second thing that it does is, if Legacy chooses not to go to college, Legacy has a steady stream of income that he can get, and he's not forced to be in any type of job or position, or he can pursue his passion or his desires because he has a steady income stream. That is generational wealth. Anybody can do it as long as you plan for it. It just takes one person in your family to make that sacrifice. That's just one way, but anybody can do it. I'll show you another way. In our family, the oldest member of our family has a $2 million life insurance policy, right? The siblings pay the premium for that. So when the oldest member passes away, the next oldest person is the person that has the life insurance policy on them. That's another way in which generational wealth can be created, because death is something that we don't talk about a lot in the Black community. But the fact of the matter is, if we plan, if we make the sacrifice, wealth can be transferred over and on. And once you get a payout, you can pay up the premium for a significant number of time and keep that tradition going on and on in your family. So it's little things, it's things that you can do. It just takes sacrifice, it just takes planning, and it's very practical. Everyone can create generational wealth.
Wow. Okay. We had a question from one of our supporters. How much money did you start with to do your first investment after you received your money from the music? Salute to Fran Ackland.
Absolutely. So I bought 2 things. I bought a duplex in Atlanta for about $100,000 at the time. I lived in one side, rented out the other. That was the first real estate purchase that I made. The second real estate purchase was in Newark, New Jersey. I got a tremendous value on a fourplex, which was still around $100,000. So I paid $100,000 for a duplex, but also, being it was inner city, little depressed, little rougher neighborhood, the same $100,000, I was able to buy a fourplex. So to me, it's value, but it was the foundation of building a rental portfolio that every single month there was this income that was coming in and it was paying for itself. So those were 2 like my cornerstone pieces that really allowed me to really scale and build up this 500-unit portfolio, because I realized after I bought a 6-family, in order to keep doubling, I really needed massive a number of units. And being that I just set out to do 1 or 2 deals a year, I had to jump into apartment complexes. So that's what I started doing, buying apartment complexes, and that's what I do now. So I went from the 2-unit all the way up to, I own 100+ unit apartment complex. I own a couple of them right now. So that's just the rationale that the trajectory that I went on.
All right, Brother Ackland asked about the money. I want to ask about the credit. Now, Taniki, she's our credit queen. I almost went Elmer Fudd there for a second. Taniki's our credit queen. I had to take my time with it. So how important was your credit for that first purchase?
The first purchase was important. The first purchase, I mean, I had decent credit. I had a decent job, didn't have a lot of debt. It was an FHA, and it was, I didn't really have any credit issues at that particular time. But I'll tell you what, when I did have credit issues. So I started to buy, leveraging my personal credit along the way until I got to about 6 or 7 mortgages. The banks would not lend me any more money. So I had to be creative in how I got money to finance my real estate endeavors. And one thing I realized is I had to get to the point where I had to start a whole new mindset. And that's part of the psychology, a part of what we teach in level 3. We talk about building business credit. I had to go that route and build out my business credit and living exclusively through my business. And then I began to have, I didn't need the banks as much. I used the asset itself, but also used my business credit to really leverage.
Okay. Now, Taniki, since you're the credit queen, tell me what are some things that people can do so they can be in a position to do what Don did? What are some things that people can do to improve their credit? Because credit obviously impacted him as he rose up. What are some things that people can do to improve their credit?
Well, the greatest thing that has the biggest impact on your credit, of course, is payment history. So they want to pay their bills on time. Also, they can do something like a credit freeze. That would be also including cleaning up their credit, removing old addresses, any incorrect or fraudulent or just inaccurate information on their credit report. They want to run a correct credit report from their free annual creditreport.com website. Right now, because of COVID, they're allowing people to go up there and pull their credit report at any time. It's usually one free credit report once a year, but because of COVID, they're allowing you to go up there and get your credit reports. You want to get all 3 of your accurate credit reports. I know a lot of people do Credit Karma, but Credit Karma does not give you everything you need on your credit report. So you really want to see all from all 3 credit bureaus, which is TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And also they want to dispute the items on your credit report. Anything that inaccurate addresses, hard inquiries, just really cleaning up their credit, and also paying on any bills that they have. If they have the money that they can pay off a debt, but they want to not just pay it off, but get a pay to delete letter sent to that creditor, because a lot of times just because you pay it does not mean they're going to remove it. So you want to get that letter, and you want to do it everything through certified mail, because again, if you do it online, it might not you might not get great results. So you want to do it with certified letters and certified mail.
Okay. All right, good stuff. Now, Don, how do you go from a thousandaire to a millionaire?
That's what I wanted.
Yeah, no, very, very awesome question. So before I even dive into that, I need to do an analogy and show you where we are at this point in time in history and how we do it. Number one, are you guys familiar with Tesla?
Yes. I have stock in Tesla.
Right? I own a Tesla, right? So one of the things that Tesla has a feature called autopilot, right? So on the autopilot, have you heard about this before? The autopilot, you basically could drive the car with no hands and no feet. Mm-hmm. And the car drives.
I've seen the demo of it.
Yeah. So it's really remarkable, but it's one of the great features on the Tesla. And how it works is that Tesla is using the data from thousands and thousands of cars all over, all over, and it's basically getting data points and then making split-second decisions. But what's happening is this year, critical mass, it's actually going to be safer to have a computer drive your car than a human, because the decisions they can make decisions on so quicker that it's kind of unfair, right? So that's why when we are driving the car to autopilot, it's actually a safer thing to do than if we don't have it. We're not there yet. It's not mass adopted, but it's the same things when we go through an airport. When we go through an airport and you go into the check counter and somebody says, let me see your passport, and they look at the passport, then they look at you. Well, computers actually do facial recognition a lot better than humans. So in some parts of the world, we're not there yet in the US, but in some parts of the world, they're already there, like in China. They have facial recognition. When you go through, you don't have to go to that guy to lift up your passport and go on. You walk right through. So the same principles that I'm telling you right now is the basis of what I need you to understand that's happening. And the reason why I'm telling you this, because it's important for us to get involved in technology, because the same thing is happening on a smaller level. And what I mean by that, there's things right now that are in play that are called Robo Advisors. And the same thing that the facial recognition and autopilot does, basically getting a whole bunch of data points, they basically can predict how you're going to retire, predict how the financial decisions that you make in the future. It's all aided through AI, right? Artificial intelligence. And that's really the foundation, the focus of what Money Ave does. And I'm going to show you this 6-step process that we take people through that's so important to build generational wealth. It's literally just 6 steps. We have a bank that does that, right? It's a bank, but we don't even consider ourselves a bank. We're a wealth building platform. And it's important to understand that. There it is, Money Avenue, yes. But even that, right? If you are interested, and I'll go through the steps, but when we get to the end of it, if you're interested in signing up with an account, go to bankmoneyave.com, bankmoneyave.com. So that same URL, but just put a bank in front of it, and we have a sign-up sheet. You can sign up, and you can be one of the people to get an account when we open up in January, right? So level 1, it's 6 different levels. At each level, you're really only thinking about one objective, and that's the focus, right? So you open an account with Money Ave. The idea is we need you to not live paycheck to paycheck. So what this bank does is we believe that we don't believe in any fees at all. Now, there may be a small fee when we send you a credit card, but for the most part, the bank has no minimal balance. There's no fee when you set up, like most banks charge a monthly fee. We don't believe in that, right? In fact, all the banks, you talk about Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, all of the banks make between $1 billion and $1.5 billion every single month. Every single month, the banks make $1 billion off of you guys banking, and just in fees. That's the fee revenue, right? So what we're trying to do at Money Ave is take that $1 billion out of the bank and give it back to the people, right? Give it back to the people. That's the key. We're disrupting the banking industry. So at that first level, it's just that. You bank with us, your deposit is FDIC insured up to $250,000. It's safe banking, right? So a lot of people think, well, they don't feel safe with their money. Well, as long as the government is in existence, your money will be safe. It's just as safe as banking with Chase, Wells Fargo, or anything else. So level 1, you basically open an account. We have tools, budgeting tools. We have auto responders to help you budget, right? So let's say you have certain goals. The whole idea is not to live paycheck to paycheck. And really at level 1, we also we have products that eradicate payday lenders, right? So we're able to get you a loan anywhere from $500 all the way up to $10,000 in as little as 3 hours, right? That's one. Other thing that we're able to do, let's say you got paid on Friday, right? You got paid on Friday, and you've been getting paid on Friday, and all of a sudden you bank with us, you open an account that's free, you get your check on Wednesday. We give you your check 2 days earlier. If your check usually comes on Friday, it now comes to you on Wednesday. So it eliminates the need to some people, they can't wait till Friday. They may need access to their money. This is a valuable tool, right? So that's what it is. Level 1, just getting financial education, just getting to the point where you're not relying on a paycheck every single month. You're not going to payday lenders. This is overall financial literacy. This is what we help you to achieve. This is level 1. At level 2 is key. Level 2, your one focus is going to be living a rent-free lifestyle. What do I mean about living a rent-free lifestyle? A rent-free lifestyle means that you're like the way that I started in Atlanta when I bought that duplex, lived in one side, rented out the other. That's what we want you to do. We have programs designed to get you to live the rent-free lifestyle. We can get you funding. We can get you a mortgage. We can get you a creative mortgage. But the idea is we want you to live a rent-free lifestyle. If you're able to do that, just level 2. If you could just get to level 2, you're living better than 70% of Americans, right? If you could just get there. And that's key, because once you get there, the biggest expense that Americans have are either their rent and their mortgage. So if you can eliminate that by the use of rental properties, you're living better than 70% of Americans. So that's so key. That's level 2. At level 3, the real fun begins. At level 3 is if you got the rent-free lifestyle and you're ready to really build wealth, because this is where the magic happens. We ask you to bring your credit score to 720. Once you get to 720, we lock it, right? The reason why we lock it is because your credit is your credibility. And we don't want you to damage your credit, because if you damage your credit, you damage your credibility. So what we ask you to do, bring your credit score to 720, lock it, and then start living exclusively through an LLC or an S Corp or another legal entity that you set up and own, exclusively through the business. Use your personal credit profile for the house you live in and the things you're doing with your family. Use that. But everything else, the idea is you have to have the foundation to really start to create generational wealth. There's no better way to do that than to understand how powerful debt is. And if you understand how powerful debt is, you have to do it. You have to play with debt safely. And the best way to do that is under a completely separate legal entity. And what I mean by living exclusively through that entity that you set up, what I mean is, let's say you're going out for dinner with your spouse. That should be a tax write-off, at least 50% of it, because you're talking business. Let's say you're traveling. That should be a tax write-off. Let's say you're going to get gas in your car to travel around town. That should be a tax write-off. Let's say you're going to get clothes, food, whatever it is, exclusively through your business. If you do that, you increase your expenses. You eliminate your taxable income, which reduces the amount of money that you give to the government. That's all you got to do. The other side of that is understanding the power of the LLC. Once you understand living exclusively through your business, then you understand now you have to put the tools in place to get business credit. At Money Avenue, for every LLC that you own, we guarantee that we can get you $50,000 of business credit that is not tied to your personal credit profile. I repeat, we will get you $50,000 of business credit that is not tied to your personal credit profile, right? What you're going to do with that money is start a business, invest in real estate, do something that has a proof of concept, right? So if you fail, and the analogy that I like to give is Donald Trump, right? Our current president for I guess for a couple months or so, right? He has over 500 LLCs. He's filed for bankruptcy 4 times, but he's never, ever impacted his personal credit. In fact, in 1992, when he filed for bankruptcy for the property in Jersey, Taj Mahal building that went belly up, right? $100 million he had leveraged. He left contractors holding the bag. The same week, he opened up 4 other LLCs and leveraged the credit on those LLCs. What you need to understand is that your LLC is powerful. Your LLC allows you to replicate yourself multiple times over and over and over again. And most entrepreneurs start businesses and use their personal credit, and 90% of businesses fail, and then that damages their personal credit, and they fight with bankruptcy. They fight for 5 or 6 or 7 years to get their credit back to the level. If you follow these steps, you won't have that problem. You won't have that problem. And it's going to be key, because that's the foundational level. We're still at 3. But when we get to level 4, we have our foundation set, and we have a platform to really, really escalate. So what we're doing, the one objective at level 4 is to go out and get $1 million in debt. Yes, you heard me correctly. Get $1 million in debt. But we're not talking about consumer debt. We're not talking about consumer debt. We're talking about income producing assets. We're talking about good debt. So what I mean by that, go out and get $1 million in debt. You have the business credit, you have the structure. So now you got to go out and get mortgages, but you're buying income producing assets. You're buying things that pay you to own them. So when I went out and I bought 6-unit or 4-unit or apartment building, you're buying an asset that pays you to own them, and you have $1 million in credit. So you got to go out and spend it. You got to go out and get $1 million in debt. That's the objective of level 4. And I'll speed up real quick so I'm not so long-winded. But at level 5,
no. Take your time, brother. Take your time, brother.
Okay.
I'm trying to write this down and not show that on the video. Keep going.
This is some good information. Take your time.
Yeah. So at level 5, right? At level 5, the $1 million in debt that you got into at level 4, and level 5, that $1 million in debt turns into $1 million in equity. How? Through strategies that we show you how to implement called forced equity, right? So I purchased an apartment complex in Plainfield, New Jersey. It was 107 units. We purchased that apartment complex for $5.6 million. Through forced appreciation, in almost less than a year, that apartment complex is worth over $12 million. This is the process, but you need to understand these principles. You need to understand the power of having an LLC and how it opens up these opportunities for you. And this is what we do at level 5. At level 5 is the point at which you become a millionaire, because your assets minus your liabilities is going to produce a net worth that is greater than $1 million. And you will be a millionaire. So that's basically going from thousandaire to millionaire, but you won't feel like it. So there's one more level. And the reason why you won't feel like a millionaire is because your money is tied up in equity and it doesn't feel like it, right? So that's why we need level 6 at Money Avenue. We have a number of different programs and processes. We have the life insurance that we talked about earlier. You can get a life insurance policy through Money Ave right now. Just go to Money Avenue. You can get the life insurance policy. We have a 1031 exchange, which allows us to pull money out of properties tax-free, pull equity out tax-free. We can either reinvest it or do other things, right? We also have trust. One of the things that we want you to do is we want you to set up trust so you can pass your wealth on that you've accumulated to your heirs. It's a way in which you can do it in a blind trust. There's a number of different trusts you can set up, and we have educational content to help you do just that. But that's the 6 levels. That is the 6 levels. And when you get to level 6 and use these tools, you have finally obtained generational wealth. Now, there's levels above it, right? Like you can be bulletproof. Is 7, 8, 9 is levels above that. But our goal is just to help everyone attain generational wealth.
Wow. Generational wealth is that's definitely the key. Yeah, go ahead and drink, brother. You went through.
Sorry, I get a little long-winded sometimes when I talk about it because I'm so amped. It's exciting. And as we bring people through the process, our bank is going to be doing some incredible things. We have one of the unique things about this bank, Seko, is that children, right? Kids, like let's say you have a teenager. If you're a parent out there, you want to get your child a bank account before they go to college or before they turn 18, but you can't do that legally because most banks won't give a minor an account. And Money Ave, we do. We have a kid account. It's called Money Ave Generational. And what we do is we allow children to open an account and get experience with banking, with credit. If I would have had that knowledge when I went to college, I wouldn't have been when I went to college, it was the first time in my life I was getting bombarded with credit cards. They were sending me credit cards in the mail. And, I didn't have a parent to say, well, this is how you handle it. It was like I grew up in an area I didn't have that. So I really feel what I'm excited about is our kid account. Like when we get our kids this knowledge, we show them, and then they're gonna take that and run with it. And by the time they're 18, they're gonna have a head start, right? They're gonna be able to understand credit, understand how to balance a bank account, how to leverage a bank account, how to basically set up a business, right? How to set up an LLC, how to be a creator. It's so important that we're creators. I firmly believe that in the next 10 years, we're going to see a teenage billionaire, teenage billionaire. Because if you give teenagers who are so idealistic, they have so many great ideas, and you combine that with the technology we have, the access to so many people via social media, do you imagine how explosive that is and things that we can scale, the amount of wealth that can be created? This is just an incredible time to be living in, and I need everyone on there to tap in. That's why I talk about technology, but you talk about it in the context of generational wealth, and it brightens up the future.
Wow. A. Donahue Baker. A. Donahue Baker. Wow. Wow. So we talked a little bit about Money Ave. We talked about the 6 steps to go from a thousandaire to a millionaire. I want to take a moment. I want to take just a moment and recognize a couple of the people that support this program because, we got to pay for those. Got to pay for those. So I'm wearing a Tally and Twine watch. All right. Tally and Twine has some of the best watches in the world. They're made here in Virginia. They're made here in America, and they're melanated owned. So let's salute Tally and Twine. TallyandTwine.com. Yes, TallyandTwine.com. Where you can find beautiful watches for men and for women. Made here in the United States. Made here in the great state of Virginia. Made in Portsmouth, Virginia. That's right. Made in America, made in Virginia, and made in Portsmouth. TallyandTwine.com. Great watches for the men. Beautiful watches. Aren't they nice? Really attractive, and these sexy watches for our beautiful ladies. TallyandTwine.com. This is my favorite watch. This is the watch personally owned. TallyandTwine.com. Made in Virginia, made in America. It's time to get a high quality watch from Tally and Twine. Wow, and I want to hold up this empty bottle. You see this bottle's empty.
Oh, man.
It's empty. It's empty. But it's Guidance Whiskey. So I want to thank the good people at Guidance Whiskey for doing what they do. I don't drink a lot. I'm not a heavy drinker, but I have to admit now, whenever I'm going to have something to drink, it's definitely going to be from Guidance. Good guidance. You can go to guidancewhiskey.com. That's guidancewhiskey.com, and you can learn all about the great spirits they offer. Whew. And Taniki, you provide credit repair services. So I'm going to put your information back up. So anybody who's needing credit repair, they can contact Taniki Riddick on this website. And real quick, how long will it take you to help somebody to clear up their credit?
Well, they'll see results within the first 45 days. And again, it's based on what's on their credit report. But within the first 45 days, they'll see some type of results. And if they do their part, again, payment history and different things that I suggest, we can, really get their credit to where they need to be so they can work with someone like Mr. Donahue there. Because that is the goal.
That is the goal. That is the goal.
Yes.
Now, Don, tell us a little bit about the hardest transaction or traverse that you've had in this movement from a zero-aire to 1,000-aire to a millionaire or multi-millionaire in your case. What was one of the hardest things? Tell us a story. Tell us a story about one of the hardest things you've had to navigate.
Well, every level that you go to, there's always a challenge. So at every level, it's really just opening up your mind and being able to think of the possibilities, right? When one door is shut, you have to think, what can I do? So we touched on a little briefly about when I hit about 6 or 7 mortgages, I had to seek alternative routes. I had to be creative, right? That was one challenge that led me to realize the power of the LLC. That was one way. On another level, I purchased this, I guess last year, I purchased a 107 unit. We talked about that. There was a thing, I was closing on that for 1 year. We went through so many different changes. The deal fell out of contract and then back in contract. That had its own struggles. And I learned so much about a particular type of mortgage. It's called a 236 mortgage. And what that is around the 70s, our government basically needed affordable housing. We still need affordable housing to this day, but the government gave a loan that if you developed and you built from ground up, you basically would pay like 1% interest, and the government would subsidize that to developers with the condition that you kept the development affordable for 50 years, right? So when I purchased this real estate, there's a lot of things that were written into the covenant, to the deed, that forced me to deal with a lot of different government agencies. I basically went up, had to deal with the HUD, Dr. Ben Carson, his number 2 man. I had to deal with our state, New Jersey Housing, Mortgage, and Finance. And then I had to deal with, the county and city Section 8 offices. So many government agencies, so many different challenges at each individual level. But it's a learning process. It's a learning curve. And one thing that I've learned is that everything you've been through, somebody has been through it. You just have to pick up and learn where they've made the mistakes so you can learn from it so you don't make the same mistakes. And that's the motto that I live by.
Wow. We have 2 comment questions. Franard, brother says, on average, how long will it take a person to go from level 1 to level 6?
Great question. So I did in 12 years, but if I had the knowledge that I had now, I can do it in 5. I run really quick. Level 1 takes you weeks. Open a bank account, get some financial education, call it 3 months. To buy a multi-family house, live in one side, rent out the other, you can do that in 6 months if you really, really look for that opportunity that creates that passive income for you, right? Then as far as the separation of your business and your personal, you could do that in another 3 months. So you're already at level 3 in less than a year. Now, to build out business credit, it is more difficult. You're going to need 2 years tax returns. You're going to need a business that has some revenue so that you can increase the valuation. We show you how to do that, how to basically have an ecosystem of businesses that you may own all of them, but those businesses can do business with each other, which creates commerce. Once you create commerce, you get a higher valuation. Then you can leverage the equity and the valuation that you've created. That may take a couple years for some. So we're already at 3. Then if you had $1 million line of credit, how fast could you go out and find income producing properties? That's about 2 years, I would say, right? Because if you say, if you give me $1 million line of credit and I have a $3 million line of credit, all I do is buy apartment complexes. And all I would do, 1 deal a year gets you there, right? apartment complex that we purchased before, we showed you how to do forced appreciation. You can do it easily, comfortably in about 5 years, following the steps that I took. I didn't know these steps when I started the journey. So, you know, I spent multiple years trying to figure out business credit. I spent multiple years just searching for properties. Really, what I do is just find one deal a year, never try to overwhelm myself, and go forward from there.
Wow. For the uninitiated, what is forced appreciation? Appreciation. I went Elmer Fudd again.
Yeah,
That must be the guidance. Oh. For the uninitiated, what is forced appreciation?
All right, forced appreciation is a trick that you can use to, when you purchase a property, you can create wealth really fast. So one of the things that we did when we created forced appreciation is you get a valuation. Let's say you buy a property and for some reason there's an issue, there's a defect that maybe it's under bad management. So this property that I bought had bad management. It wasn't being managed effectively. Because it wasn't being managed effectively, had a high vacancy rate, right? Like 20%. So we came in, we cured the vacancy rate. We increased the number of units that could be rented now because we fixed things. And then from there, we got a higher valuation. That was forced appreciation. Make sense?
That does make a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. We have another question from the great Will Randolph. And I want to highlight Will Randolph. He's one of my mentors in real estate. He owns a firm called Think Acquisition. He's a speaker, trainer, and consultant. So go to thinkacquisition.net, thinkacquisition.net, and you can learn from the great Will Randolph. Good brother. I DJ'd his wedding, I think 2 years ago, it may be 3.
Okay.
But I tell you what, man, his wife and Will, man, they're great mentors and great leaders, and they're knocking out. Everything that you're talking about, they're doing it now, and I'm learning through them. So his question is, if you're already plus 720 and have an LLC, hey, check. I just can say I check both of those boxes now. Can you enter a level 4? I'm not ready. Can you enter a level 4 and start gaining business credit? I guess I am ready. All right, so yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. So with our program, what we do is bring you through the stages that you need to be through business credit, just setting it up, making sure that the structures are right there. What is important is that you understand that, you know, the reason why we say lock your credit at 720 is it's just to say that if you take care of your personal credit, when you do these multi-million-dollar deals, you may not be relying on your personal credit, but you need partners. And the people that you partner with, you may not know who they are, and they want to do research about you. So when your credit is 560, they're going to be like, this guy can't even manage his personal credit. Why am I going to do this $1 million deal with them? So that's why we say that, right? So there's a system that we have to bring you through to basically make sure that you have the things in place. Make sure that you have a business that is not home-based business, right? We don't want your business in this day and age. If you're looking to get $1 million, $2 million, $3 million line of credit, and you have a home-based business, you've lost already. You need to have a professional business establishment. You need to have a website. There's just basic things that you need to have. And our program brings you through that process and allows you to basically gives you the structure, the foundation to really get high dollar value lines of credit. So yes, you can have all of those things and start. We can jump out at that level, but we want you to go through our system so that the foundation is solid. And we want to make sure that it's solid, because some people out there offer business credit, and what they do is they basically take your personal credit score and you become a PG, right? You have to personally guarantee the credit card or whatever they set you up through your business. That's not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is completely separate. Like Jeff Bezos, right? You know who Jeff Bezos is, right? At Amazon. When he needs credit for Amazon, they don't ask Jeff Bezos to personally guarantee Amazon debt. It doesn't work like that, right? So that's the process that we bring you through. We try to get you the high valuation through your LLC so that all you need is your LLC, and that is the sole source of getting your business credit.
Excellent, excellent. I also want to tap in again. Well, go ahead. I want to tap in again with Will. He gave the layman's answer that forced appreciation is like fixing or flipping or renovating a residential house. So I know you're a professor, and you gave us the highbrow, the other HU answer for forced appreciation. Salute to the real HU Hampton University. Salute. Would this application, this definition of forced appreciation, ring true with the Money Ave strategy?
It's different in the sense that we don't believe in selling, right? So that's why we don't wholesale, we don't do house flipping, but basically the concept is right. Like, he's 100% right. Like, when you're flipping or wholesaling, you're taking something at one value and getting a higher valuation for it. That's true. But instead, what we're doing is we're still retaining ownership of the asset, right? So in that sense, like, in order to flip, you got to sell the asset. I sold one property I regretted, right? But I've only sold one property in the last 15 years. I regretted selling that property. But the whole thing is that we're looking to build generational wealth. So we want ownership. We want to hold on to our property and pass it on, right? These are cash cows. These are cash making machines. If you sell your property, you can spend that money and you'll be forced to get a job. You're giving away your wealth. You're giving away your wealth if you do not, if you deviate, right? If you basically say, I'm just gonna sell and flip and that's a job, and you cannot pass a job on to someone else. The second you stop flipping, the second you stop wholesaling, the income stops.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. All right, good. So, Don, you've been talking a lot.
I have a question for Seko.
Okay, go ahead.
Quick question. Okay, so during this pandemic, a lot of people started their LLCs, and I have a few clients who have reached that 750 goal. Is there a requirement of how established an LLC needs to be before you can get approved for your business credit? Like, what is the requirement as far as this? LLC?
When we say we get every LLC at least $50,000, that is the $50,000 is the baseline. Majority of our LLCs get close to $100,000, right? The thing is, there's no requirement because we build it. It's not an overnight process. It takes about 6 months, but we build it from scratch. That's basically, that's why we could say it's really by how you structure your LLC, things that you have in place, and we help you with those.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We want to encourage our viewers and listeners to ask a few more questions. We have about 10 more minutes with Don, and he's been talking a lot. He gave us the steps to go from a thousandaire to a millionaire, the 6 steps that he gave us. Hopefully you wrote copious notes. I have. I know Queen Taniki has. Hopefully
yes,
you have. You got a chance to talk about Money Ave. We talked about forced appreciation. And one of the things that I think is important is this piece on LLCs. You keep talking about the power of an LLC. Does that power also exist in an S Corp? And then go into what the power of an LLC is. So, the first question, does that power exist in an S Corp? And then secondarily, tell us about the power, go a little deeper on the power of the LLC.
So I say LLC, but really it can be any legal entity. LLC is the simplest form of legal structure because once you set it up, all you have to do is just basically maintain it, do an annual filing once a year, and you're straight. But if you have a C Corp or if you have the S Corp, there's other requirements that are required quarterly, right? If you have employees, I mean, it's a more complicated process, but it can work for an LLP, it can work for a nonprofit. The whole idea is that you want to have a separate legal entity. When I say the power of the LLC, what I mean is there are masters of business credit, right? Masters of business credit, people like Donald Trump. Donald Trump cannot get a loan from any US bank in this country because he's mastered business credit. He's mastered how to do it. There's a system. I'm trying to show you, I'm trying to give you the gems to do just that. When you need to get millions of dollars to build your empire, to start your business, there's a process that you have to go through. There's things that you have to have in place. That is understanding the power of the LLC. And when you understand that, you can replicate that many different times. So you need to have not one LLC, but you need an ecosystems of LLCs or other legal entities, right? But there's a reason why Donald Trump has over 500 LLCs. There's a reason why, right? It's not that he likes setting up LLCs. It's a money play. It's an opportunity to create wealth and leverage the bank's money, leverage other people's money. That is one of the key drivers to build wealth. So when I say if you have an LLC and you don't have at least $100,000 of business credit that is not connected to your personal credit profile, you're doing it wrong. Simple as that. You're doing it wrong. It's nothing wrong with using your personal credit if you choose to, but you're taking unnecessary risk. When you use your personal credit, you're taking unnecessary risk. If you get an FHA loan, use your personal credit. But why would you do things a risky way when there's a better way to do them? And that's what I'm trying to tell people and educate them and letting them know that if you really are serious about being a millionaire, and you should be, because that number today, $1.4 million is the cutoff number. If you don't not have in order to create generational wealth and pass it on, you should be looking to create at least $1.4 million of wealth, of net worth. The reason why is because we just passed a $2 trillion stimulus. $1 million today will not be worth $1 million tomorrow. Inflation will take effect at some point. So we've got to be thinking like millionaires. We need to be thinking we're going to be millionaires. So it's a mentality shift, right? $1 million is not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. If I gave somebody $1 million today and they were 30 years old, chances are they still would have to get a job.
Wow. We have another question from the great Will Randolph. Is the 1 million business credit based on multiple trade lines, i.e. credit cards, or is this a true standalone line of credit?
It's various, right? So we have a Money Ave card in which we can get you a high dollar value through Money Ave, right? Through our bank. We have bank lines. We can get you a bank line, $100,000, $500,000 line of credit. We have credit cards. It's various. So depending on what stage your business is, like I said, we take 2 years tax returns. We look at the state of your revenue. That determines what type of lines you will be getting. In addition to that, like I said, I have a $3 million line of credit. The $3 million line of credit is not through Money Avenue exclusively. That is we have a partner institution that we work with that gets, when your business is positioned, they do the super high value lines of credit, and we work with Money Ave, but we partner with them and they underwrite the $3 million lines of credit, things like that.
Okay, we have two other comment questions. One is coming from a good investor, Mr. Dwayne Phillips. And before we get to his question, I want to share that he is a great investor. Look, Dwayne did this.
Awesome.
He purchased this property at $33K. He found out it needed $58,000. I provided him with 90% of the acquisition cost and 100% of the rehab cost. He's working that particular property right now. So salute to the good brother. Salute to the good brother.
Awesome.
Salute to the good brother. So let's go to his comment. So his question is, do you recommend purchasing assets across the country, or do you focus on a particular region?
I'm in 3 markets, right? So I'm in Florida, Georgia, and New Jersey. However, I'm open to deals all across the country. Go where value is. What I will not do is pay market price for any property or any real estate right now, at least until till I know I'm secure in the market. So wherever you can get a deal, and there are deals in every city, it just depends on the method of acquisition, how you choose to find your deals. So my advice to say is, I'm not bound geographically, but I focus on one deal a year. So this year I was competing for deals in New Jersey, competing for deals in Dallas, Texas, competing for deals in Houston. Whatever I'm gonna get the highest ROI, that's what's most attractive for me, because I'm only looking to do one. So the question, I hope I answered the question. I'm not bound geographically. I'm just looking for the best possible deal. And when I'm taking that into consideration, I also have to understand that if I have property already in that city, I can get economies of scale because I have a property manager there that can handle that property. If there's a city in which I have no property manager and I have to go and find a property manager, there's a threshold amongst the level of deal that I would do. I won't purchase anything below 50 units because I need a business model that allows me to get a manager in there, have a leasing office that can manage itself, because it's in a city that I don't have a team, I don't have a crew that I can basically help manage the property. So there's certain constraints that I'm restricted to when I go into a new region, but I'm still open. The deal is a deal. If I can make money in California and the opportunity comes away, I'm going to grab it. If I'm in Florida and opportunity comes my way, I'm going to grab it. It's like leaving a $100 bill in the middle of the street. It's not going to stay there for long. Trust me. Somebody's going to drive by and pick it up.
Beautiful. And good brother Ask, again, he's had some great questions. You mentioned establishing a business LLC that generates actual revenue. What are some good businesses to start up?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Man, well, look, here's the deal, right? I can go on and on about this. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. One thing that we have a $10 million fund that invests in entrepreneurship, right? We also partnered with the Billionaire, right? I don't know if you know who Donahue Peoples. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's the premier Black real estate developer. He's actually on the board of Money Avenue, and he has.
Whoa! Hold on!
Yeah.
I gotta clap for that. He's on the board of Money Ave.
Yes, Donahue Peoples is on the board of Money Ave. So
look, man,
and I didn't even tell you the other half of this. He put up $500 million is going to be deployed in 2021 to create more entrepreneurs, more Black real estate developers all over this country. The reason why this question is key is because I need you guys to understand one thing. We have Money Avenue itself has a $10 million fund that we go and we invest in up and coming entrepreneurs. When you look at businesses to start, whatever business you start, whatever passion your business should be, you should leverage technology into it. Because when I open this discussion, we talked about what's coming down in the future. If we're not engaged in technology, if we don't understand technology, what happens is we're going to be competing against computers and we're going to lose. So, the computer versus man competition right now, man is still superior. But when it comes to decision making, processing, we can't compete with the computer. It's just, so what I'm trying to tell you is businesses, and I see that as we scroll on our Donahue Peoples, what I'm trying to tell you here is find opportunities that you can get a competitive advantage through technology. And there's money out there. You can come to us. We would invest in it. We'd help you get the startup capital. So that, I just encourage that. I love when people, I talk to young people, young men, like at Morehouse. Is one of the things that we talk about in entrepreneur class. What businesses? What could you, one young man came up with the app, and we're going through this in class. He came up with the idea to, start a barbershop. Well, he was going to start a barbershop, but he wanted to leverage technology. So what he did was he said, I'm going to create an app, and if you need a haircut, I'm going to have the barbershop in the truck. So he has a truck, barber chair in the truck through the app. You can basically, he'll come to your house, cut your hair, come to your job, cut your hair. You schedule it, you schedule your appointment in the app, and he has a truck that runs around when things are, on campus. He'll park the truck, students will come out, get their hair cut. I mean, this is how you leverage technology, right? He doesn't need a stand-up store. In fact, if you need, and this is why we're in banking, right? And this is why I love talking about this. So I'm sorry, I get excited about business. But if you're like, for our bank, if the reason why we're disrupting, our company, Money Ave, is the 9th fastest growing fintech in the country. Out of the top 5,000 firms, we're ranked 199 out of all the companies. But in the fintech space, we're ranked 9, right? So the thing is, why we're able to scale so quickly is because of technology. Because with your app, if you have an app, you can be sleeping and doing business. So we need to, as a people, we need to tap into that, because that's where the next billionaires are going to be created. Literally, overnight, it's going to happen. Some of those billionaires are going to be teenagers, right? Somebody with a great idea, they're going to be teenagers. I have a number of different ideas, but if you follow me on social media, because part of what we talk about in the class are posted. So follow me on Instagram in particular. I shoot little clips of the class, and I've had every single week I have a celebrity come down. We've had Jermaine Dupri, we've had our Donahue Peoples, we've had April Walker, we had the founders of FUBU, we had Ebby Parsons, we had another guy that just sold a startup. We had a guy that sold a startup for $50 million that he created 2 years ago, right? Just having an idea, leveraging technology. Bigger venture capitalists bought it out. So it's valuable information. I just want us all to get plugged in. Follow Afro-Tech, right? Black technology professionals, right? This space, the whole culture of Silicon Valley needs to get out, needs to get exposed, because the massive amount of wealth that's being created needs to be shared and dispersed. So that it's part of my mission and my passion to bring you this information, because I'm so excited about it.
Wow, Don, I don't want you to continue going, because this coming Thanksgiving, you're going to be at the Black Diamond Weekend. You're going to actually be one of the speakers. Let me see if I can pull that information up. Yeah. So on that Sunday, and I'm just skipping through, on this Sunday at the Real Estate Symposium, and it's all going to be virtual.
Yep.
Yeah. So Black Diamond Weekend. Let me pull off some of this stuff so I can just go straight to the website. So people can find you by going to blackdiamondweekendva.com and learn all about Black Diamond Weekend coming up. And during Black Diamond Weekend, we have people just like yourself who are giving some great content. I can't wait to be a part of your class and learn more from you, brother. I'm actually giving a presentation there myself as well. So make sure you go to blackdiamondweekendva.com, pick up your tickets, check out the good brother A. Donahue Baker, good brother Phi Beta Sigma. Salute all the Sigmas in the house. I shared with you earlier that one of the ladies that kind of helped raise me was one of the Zeta Phi Beta founders. So, salute all the Zetas and salute all the Sigmas out there as well. I just can't wait to see you on the 29th, man. You're going to give some great content, and we're always learning from you. So 30 seconds, your last statement, and we're out of here.
Just want to thank you. First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on. I am just really excited to speak at the conference. Follow me on Instagram at A. Donahue Baker. Sign up for Money Ave. The platform is going to change so many different lives. Go to bankmoneyave.com. You can find me there. And I'm just excited to kind of continue the conversation in a week.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
This show was brought to you by Positive Vibes Incorporated, our consulting service. We do credit fix, we do tax resolution, we lend private money, and debt consolidation. So if you need some of these services, We're waiting here for you. Credit fixes, tax resolutions, private money, and debt consolidation. Make sure you call Positive Vibes Incorporated.